Hey everybody, my name is Dave, interpreting the stars. Today I have a very special guest joining me, talking about his new movie, Condor's Nest, coming out everywhere January 27th. It's Arnold Vosloo. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So, Arnold, you've been a big part of so many different movies and TV shows throughout your entire career. Most of the time, I'm seeing you as this big, iconic, imposing villain. Most notoriously, you played the Mummy in The Mummy. But I remember watching you as Habib Marwan in 24. I remember watching you as Zartan in the G.I. Joe franchise as well, and now you're a Nazi in
Yeah.
Condor's Nest.
Yeah.
So how do you prepare to play such evil, maniacal uh, characters like this? Do you have any kind of I don't know, regimen or technique that gets you into the mindset of a killer, or is it just second nature at this point?
Yeah, I mean, look, I look a certain way. This face is what it is,
Oh.
and I'm not gonna play the dude that takes your ex-wife out for dinner or whatever. They're not gonna cast me in that part as in a romantic comedy. So these are the guys I play, and what was interesting about this script. Why I was gravitating towards this because, first of all, it's a tough gig to play Nazi. It's been done over and over and over. So how are you start thinking, how are you going to do it different? Should I do it? But part of the attraction was that I got to speak German, which I don't speak. And of course, I now had to do a German accent. But the actual German part of it was really the attraction was like, all right, let me see if I can act in another language and pull it off. I've never done that before. And that was a real part of the attraction, and that the whole script was good. I mean, the Phil Blattenberg, our writer director, wrote a hell of a script, and I said yes immediately because the whole script was good. It was funny, it was intriguing, suspenseful, all that stuff. So I said yes straight away, and then of course wanted to call back and say no because I'm shit scared of doing all this German stuff and putting myself out there as a Nazi. I didn't know if I could pull it off authentically and believably and all that. You go through all those self doubts, but finally you're on set, you're in wardrobe, and somebody says action, and it just pours out of you, and somehow it all works. So it has happened in the past where I've played characters where bad guys specifically, where they're in conflict, whether it's the Mummy or whether it's Marwan. It's a guy that believes in a certain kind of ideology and wants to blow up America for his reasons, so to speak. Whereas this Colonel Buck guy, the interesting thing about this bad guy was like, this is absolutely a believer. He believes in his ideology and everybody else is wrong. And fuck it, take it or leave it. It's I'm right and you're wrong. Not maybe you're right, I'm right, you're wrong. And
Yeah.
so, in that sense, it's very freeing because you don't have, there's no sort of wishy washy kind of, well, is this the right or the wrong decision? No, this is my decision. It's the right decision. MoveOn.com. So, in that sense, it was really freeing to play this particular character, but they're all kind of different. But a big attraction was the German, speaking the German, and man, it's scary, to act in another language. It's not easy, but and I know all the actors in that room that day, Bruce Davidson, a couple of the other American actors, all veteran actors were petrified. We're like, fuck, we're all scared, we got to speak German. So yeah, but it was cool. We got it done, and the movie's turned out great, man. I can't wait for people to see it and just have fun with it. It's just an old-fashioned throwback fun movie.
Oh yeah, I definitely enjoyed this movie. I didn't know if I would or not because as I told the director last week, I'm not always a fan of movies that center kind of around war, but I was really thrown into this one and I enjoyed a lot of it. And yeah, the German part I was going to ask you about of how difficult it was and how long it took to get through an entire conversation with other people that also didn't speak German too.
I
I can't
know.
imagine.
It's crazy, it's crazy because you speak and you think you got all your lines, but you're not 100% sure, but you think you do. And then and you're watching the other actor opposite you, you're like, are they going to start talking? Are they done? Am I supposed to speak more because I don't know what the hell to say? And so I think I've said my bit. So in that sense, it was interesting. But the magic of editing fixes all that and makes us all look like competent German speakers. But it took a while to learn. I live in Santa Monica in Los Angeles, and I walk my dog down to the beach in the morning, and I had a recording. Phil sent me the recording in English and then in German of a German speaker doing it. So I would walk the dog with headphones on, and I would just belt out these German lines. I'm sure people thought I was crazy. They'd see me at 5 o'clock in the morning, this tall, skinny South African walking around yelling out German lines. But eventually they stick, and you get to learn them and know them and the nuances within them. But it's terrifying because you can't ad lib. You don't really, what the other guy is saying because you've read the English version of it. But it's difficult, man. I don't think I'll do it again. I must say, I don't think I'll do another movie where I speak another language. It's just, it's terrifying, and it's kind of it's difficult. I'm glad I did it, but I think it's one and done for me on this one. Yeah.
Hey, it works though, because you did a great job. And how would you describe the atmosphere on set? Would you say that you had a good time filming, or do you think that it was more stressful because during the time of filming there was lots of restrictions due to COVID and all of that? Anything like that?
Yes. I mean, it was sort of the tail end of that, and so it's not as fun as it was, before COVID. It's part of the fun thing about being an actor is you get to really have a vacation from your life. You go and stay in a lovely hotel somewhere, in this case, North Carolina, and you get to interact with other people that you've never met and, meet new people. But there was none of that, because of COVID. You all just sort of stayed in your room. So in that sense, it's a bit of a downer. But and when you're on set, of course, it's all business. Time is money. Whether it's a big production, like a Blood Diamond with Leo DiCaprio, or whether it's a smaller movie like this with less of a budget, it's always, everybody's just fighting for, at least every director is fighting to get as many minutes in the can as they can. So you have as much fun as you can on set, but it's business. It's show/business, and you got to make it happen. And that's why it was so sad that we couldn't hang out afterwards, go to the bar afterwards and have a drink and have dinner together. There was none of that, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
So how did you hear about the project in the first place, given that it is a smaller film and lower budget and everything? How did you hear about it, and what about it spoke to you, other than the German, that you had to do this?
Phil sent me the script. He wanted me specifically for the part. And so he sent me the script. And at first I was like, I don't know if this guy's hardcore. You ask yourself all those questions. You sort of spend a week reading the script 2-3 times and thinking about, can you do this? Yes, somebody offered it to you, so they assume you can do it. But do you feel you can do it and do it justice and do something new and do something cool? So then you talk in this case, I talked myself into that, and I was like, no, the German will be fine. I'll handle it. I can do it. I'll do this. And then the very next day, I'm like, why did I say yes? I shouldn't have said yes. It's too bloody difficult to learn this language. So, you go back and forth. But ultimately, every decision, every movie that I've ever gotten, it's ultimately about the script. If the script is good, you want to be part of it, no matter what the budget is, or where this thing's at, or what the difficulties are. Script is king in this business, certainly in show business, and that's the currency. That's the thing that everybody gravitates towards, and the thing that gets them to show up at 5 o'clock on that set is the word on that written page. I think writers are the heroes of movies, no doubt. these guys sit in front of those bloody word processors for months and torture themselves, and then they give it to us and we just change the lines and do what we want with it. But script is king. You always do a project because of the script, ultimately, not because of the directors as much, not because of any other stars in it or anything like that. You're like, you know what, this script is really good. I want to be part of this. I want to bring a part of myself to this and help this director build this. And Phil's script was amazing. It's different. I think when people see the movie, yes, it's an old-fashioned Second World War kind of throwback, but there's some fun things in it, and it's up to date now, and it's interesting. It's just an interesting movie, and I'm glad I said yes.
Yeah, I'm glad you did too. I noticed looking you up, you've done so much in acting. You've done theatrical plays, you've done movies, you've done TV. Do you have like a preference of what you prefer, well, medium wise? If you do movies more, if you like to do TV now more so, or if you want to go back to the world of theatrical plays and things of the nature?
I just turned 60 last year, so in the ideal world, I would love to do a play for 2-3 months. That's the problem with doing a play. You do a play on Broadway, you sign up for like a year and a half, 2 years sometimes, depending on the run. And that I cannot imagine. I did a play on Broadway with Al Pacino called Salome, and that was great because in his contract, he just specified like a 3-month run. So it was perfect. It was sort of hit and run. You're going to go in, do a play. You're in a play on Broadway with Al Pacino, 3 months in and out, So that would be the ideal thing, is to do a play first half of the year and then segue into film or television work. It's all sort of blurred now. Ideally do film work where I don't have a lot of lines, and I can just, they can just cut to me thinking about what somebody said on screen. That would be great. That would be the ideal gig.
Yeah. I honestly, I've ran through all the questions that I have, but I do have one question left for you, kind of more of a fun question. So recently I've seen a couple of interviews from Brendan Fraser, who has expressed interest in returning to the world of The Mummy if it was the opportunity was given to him. So I gotta ask you, if the same opportunity was given to you, would you have the same kind of interest in returning to the world of The Mummy in any kind of way?
Absolutely, and I'll tell you why. Those first 2 films, the first Mummy movies that I did and that Rachel was in. The third one, they did a Chinese mummy, and then of course it became a weird Tom Cruise movie later. But I would, because for this reason, those first 2 movies are so beloved, and if there's a way to do another one with me as the mummy, I would absolutely come back and sort of finish the trilogy and do it. And I adore Brendan and Rachel, John Hannah, that whole crowd. They're all good people, and I'd love to work with them again. But we'll see what happens. I haven't been approached. I haven't heard anything. I know there's talk. Of course, Brendan's just nominated now for the Academy Award, and it's show business, as we know. I'm sure the studio took note of that, and they'll dust off some of the old scripts that they have and see. But whether they're going to ask me to come back, or whether they might, the producers might decide to have Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, because he was in the second Mummy as the Scorpion King. Maybe they want to team him up with Brendan, and that'll be their prerogative. But I suspect, if I can be selfish, I suspect the audience would rather see Imhotep. Rather see Imhotep than the Scorpion King. I think so.
Yes, I love Imhotep. Yeah, that's all the questions that I have for you, man.
Cool,
I appreciate you coming by and taking some time out of your busy day to answer some of my silly questions. And I hope that people do get the chance to check out Condor's Nest, because I had a lot of fun with it. But otherwise, yeah, it was a joy. It was a pleasure to have you on. And I'll let you go on and Do what you do. And everybody who's watching, make sure that you check out Condor's Nest coming out January 27th. And until then,
Tomorrow,
guys.
yeah. January
Yeah.
27th everywhere. Thank you for your interest, and we'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
All right. See you later, man.
Ciao, man. Bye-bye.